Yo, what's good with it? He's Greg. I'm your boy Robert. We are the All Out of Fucks podcast. We back in the building. What's good with you, baby?
Man, chilling. I'm on autopilot right about now. The amount of work I've been doing for free.
Sound like slavery, brother.
That sounds like slavery. That's what it is. Salary is slavery. No,
Right. It's not. That is
it,
not slavery.
it is not at all.
That is not slavery. Don't let
Oh,
anybody
shit.
lie to you.
Right. It is not.
Anybody telling y'all that y'all need to fuck around, quit y'all 9 to 5s, do not listen to them motherfuckers. Like, hey.
Exactly. If you got a decent salary, go ahead and keep your damn salary. Because I'm gonna tell you this much: when I was on hour leave, I'm telling you those hours can get cut.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I've learned to just appreciate the situation I got. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you are blessed enough to be in a position where you're able to continue to work through all this shit or even increase your position, man, you can't be mad at that, man.
No, you can't be mad at it at all. I just literally, within the past couple of weeks with Arnold and a bunch of other shows that we got coming around the corner, around the pike, next couple of days, it's gonna be. I might top out maybe 135, 145 when it's all said and done. But
Go ahead, grinding.
yeah, it is what it is. I mean, when the world starts opening back up, it literally it was like a switch that turned on, which I kind of knew. I knew it was going to be like a faucet. You turn that joker on, and everybody's going to be running. Everybody wants to do something. That's just how that is. So I expected it. So it's not a surprise type of thing. So
I feel you.
yeah,
It's but you gotta do what you gotta do though. I mean, y'all stay busy and during certain times. I don't know if you saw. So everybody knows that we recording this from Columbus. So in Ohio, they recently passed this law that basically said you could designate a particular district for open container, which in Columbus it's the arena district. Okay. So
yeah.
Tonight is the first time they're really doing that officially, which what that means is basically for a designated period of time in one designated district in every city, you can have open container, walk around, drink your shit, do whatever you need to do.
I was about to say Indianapolis has that downtown too, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they. I mean, I know the legislation recently passed in Ohio for that. So
yeah,
Indianapolis might have it too, but they call it, the acronym is DORA. I forget what it stands for, but
okay.
So the reason why they're doing it tonight is there's a crew game tonight, which is the local soccer team here, the professional team. The Blue Jackets, the hockey team, have a game tonight, and the baseball team has their game tonight. So it's going to be jumping down there. Everybody's going to be passing all that Corona around.
I was about to say they're going to be passing Corona in bottles, drinking. They're going to be drunk as fuck.
And I don't mean Corona beer.
I don't mean Corona beer. they gonna be passing the Rona around, drinking each other's Corona. Say that shit 5 times fast.
It's gonna be, but I mean, in under normal circumstance, that'd be nice. I mean, 3 different professional sports teams jumping at the same time, like,
right.
I mean, it's pretty dope. But it's just in a situation now where it's like, fuck, you gotta manage your fun.
I was about to say, and that's coming off the heels of a wrestling pay-per-view.
Yeah.
WWE was here Sunday.
Oh, was it at the Nationwide?
At Nationwide, yep.
Okay.
They were here Sunday. So I mean, this week for those folks down there, this week is a busy ass fucking week. So if you are into drinking, and you want to hang down there, your ass is gonna be sloppy by the end of the week.
Right.
Speaking of the week, at the end of this week, shit, our homecoming.
I was thinking about that earlier this week. I was like, it is about that time for Purdue homecoming.
Yep.
They pulled out some shit last week. Football playing, they 3-1. I mean, we ain't really played. I still don't know what we are as far as the football team. And I feel like Jeff Brom has. It feels like he's underachieved a little bit, but I got to be careful not to. I kind of give everybody a pass for last year, right? Because last year was just kind of like a clusterfuck. So
right,
I want to give them a chance. I mean, they didn't beat Notre Dame, but they were competitive. They've had a bunch of injuries. It would have been nice to see how effective they would have been when they had Rondell Moore if he didn't get injured, but he's in the league killing it now. But we can't seem to get a decent quarterback these days. Like,
No, it's usually once, maybe once every 2 decades. That's it seems like that's the trend, you know.
right,
I mean, we'll get a Hall of Famer, and then next thing you know, 20 years will pass, and then we'll get another Hall of Famer, and then 20 years will pass, and probably we'll get another Hall of Famer. I
right.
mean, it's just how that works for Purdue. So it's interesting to see. But I mean, right now they put that what was it, UConn, right? They put that UConn game away, and I was just like, so I don't know how to I don't know how to grade you. I don't know how to critique you.
Yeah, it's hard
Like
to. They're
it's
weird.
like,
Like, it's weird
yeah,
to, and you know what that is? That what part of that is Purdue trauma, right?
right,
Like
because we know.
that's we like so part of that is just not trust, right? We just don't trust the shit. We like, I don't know. I gotta wait and see. And then we lost to Notre Dame. We like, see, here's that bullshit again. But Notre Dame appears to be fairly decent, and we were competitive for most of the game.
I was about to
So,
say throughout, even through that bad call, but that is what it is.
and then Illinois, they pulled that shit out in a fashion that Purdue usually tricks that shit off.
Well, that's why I was saying I said UConn. It was Illinois that that shocked me. But that's what made me go, I don't know. I don't know how to grade you. So you 3-1. So okay. That the way I look at it, you halfway to a bowl.
And I mean, and I guess you grade them by checking out the games. They win the games they're supposed to, right? So, got
Right.
Minnesota this weekend. They probably should win that game. Minnesota tends to be competitive, though. So, I mean,
Well,
I mean, that would probably be a solid win if we win it. I mean,
right. I was about to say Minnesota always flops every one or every other year or every 2 years. Minnesota will be a real decent squad. And then you like, well, where the fuck Minnesota come from? And then 2 years later, they're mediocre or they're just, middle of the road. So I don't know which Minnesota we gonna get.
right?
So if they're middle of the road, we should win. If they're a decent squad, I
Yeah, I
know
just
that I
don't
know
know,
they put
man.
points on the board. Like they can
Yeah,
put points on the board.
I just don't know. I mean, I'm watching the games. I'm just like, I mean, I know David Bell. I'm not sure if he's coming back. That's our wide receiver. He's pretty dope. But
Mhm.
he was in that concussion protocol, so we'll see. I mean, see what's going down. Obviously we hope the Boilers show out. One thing I did want to talk to you about. So I know you saw NBA Media Day was yesterday, I think, day before. So the
Yeah,
Bulls had their
yeah,
media day.
yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, and somebody made a good point. Like, considering all the movement and money they spent, nobody's talking about the Bulls at all. Like,
No, and the funny part is, I think everybody's underestimating them, and that's not
which is
us
good,
being. Yeah, that's very good. That's not us being homers. That I'm literally looking at the squad, and I'm looking at the money. I'm looking at the Eastern Conference. I'm looking at what's going to happen due to the COVID protocol and the vaccine, and who's going to play and who's not going to play in these home games. It's not far fetched.
there's so much shit to talk about. So real quick, I want to talk about the Bulls. Then I want to talk about this simple nigga Kyrie Irving. But like so on the Bulls front, the thing I like about how they're approaching this shit is
Mhm.
a lot of times you would get some GMs and some front offices who have an off season like the Bulls had, and they
Right.
be out here doing the victory lap circuit, like taking all the interviews up on the days, all that type of shit. They're out here.
Yeah.
They want to talk about all the work they did. AK and Eversley, they haven't really said shit. And I appreciate the reason why I appreciate that is they're approaching it like, look, yeah, we put this shit together, but we still got to perform on the court. And
Right.
Gar Pax would have been out here like, oh, we did our thing. They be out here doing. I mean, they never did that shit. I mean, they're the same motherfuckers who was like, oh, we need to get younger and athletic, and then sign D Wade and Rondo, right? So, so I mean, so glad. I'm like, oh, this is what it's like to have a competent front office.
Well,
Like, this
yeah.
is how it works. Like,
Yeah.
rather than lucking into the number one pick with Rose and a bunch of other shit. But I mean, so we'll see what happens. I mean, Levine seems to have the right. I like his attitude. He's strictly business. He's definitely. I've been saying it for the past few years. He can be the guy on the squad.
Mhm.
So they need to pay his money, and it seems like he wants to be in Chicago. And a lot of the guys came to Chicago for him. Like I know DeMar DeRozan said part of the reason why he came is because Levine was here and he liked his attitude. He felt like he had something to prove too. I think
Right.
Lonzo Ball said this. Lonzo Ball was just happy. He wanted to come to Chicago. And that's the thing I like the most about this shit is guys wanting to come to Chicago because that's not something
Right.
we've been able to accomplish. I mean, you remember the shit, the year LeBron and Wade and Bosh, and I ended up with Boozer and fucking, who else? Well, Lopez?
Lopez,
No,
Boozer.
no, it was Boozer and Gasol we ended up with, I think. Maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn, I forgot Gasol was
But remember, Gasol was hooping a little bit, but
he was hooping. I just forgot he was there. God damn. Yeah.
so we couldn't get
yeah.
nobody to come here, even though it looked like they were gonna come here and some shit. You know, it just the Miami shit went down. But yeah, man. So I mean, I'm excited to see how this team comes out. And then Billy Donovan, I wasn't excited about the hire, but the more I've kind of paid attention to him more, he does seem to overachieve wherever he goes. Like he's been able to make the playoffs with lesser talent everywhere he's gone. So I'm interested, and I don't hold last year against him too much because he wasn't cooking with the ingredients that he shot for, right?
Right.
So I think he had a role in kind of saying these are the guys I like, and I'm interested to see what he does with this talent. I mean, that year, the year 2 years ago, what did he do with Oklahoma City with just having Chris Paul, and had them in the playoffs competitive? Like, I'm really interested to see how this goes down. I think they have the right attitude, though. They have the attitude that, look, we made these moves, but we ain't proved shit yet. And
well, that's what I was gonna say. He instills a attitude in the team that gets them ready to play, even though it might be a bunch of like B and C guys. They feel like they A guys, and they go out there and they give the effort of an A guy, and you can't complain something about that. That's why when I said it, I was like, yeah. You need to pay attention to him because he does something. It's something about people like playing for him. Like
right, that's true. Because the guys who love him. I mean,
yeah, they love him. So
I mean, Joe Kim, like he loves him. Bradley Beal, all them Florida cats, like they swear by his ass. Like, so we'll see, man. Like it's gonna be fun to watch. I think they're gonna be more competitive than people think. So I'm not gonna. I can't make the jump to saying they're going to be, championship contender necessarily because I got to see it first. But I mean, they got more. I think the talent meshes more so than they think. People, I think, forget just basketball is basketball, right?
Right.
You got talented guys. They're gonna figure the shit out, right?
Right. And it is all based on also them playing with each other enough. Like a lot of people go, well, this is a great basketball player here, and this is a great basketball player here. Why the fuck can't they win? And it's like, just because you're great at basketball, it still has to be some level of continuity between the players on the team. Like y'all got to mesh, y'all got to gel, and I think this squad looks like they like each other. That's always a good thing. They look like they like each other, and so they'll probably get to gelling and playing with each other, and that's how you get those teams that just know each other like from the back of their hand.
Right.
It's the anti Chalmers. Like like I used to love watching LeBron in freaking Miami, and him and D Wade would just be on. I mean, they just in sync. And then LeBron would be like, okay, everybody's good. And you could tell he thought he was in sync with Chalmers, and then Mario do some shit. He won't be where he need to be or something. You just like, yeah, that type of shit happens. And that's with LeBron, prime LeBron, young LeBron. So you gotta have some type of connection.
I just like that these guys all have something to prove, right? Like none of them have accomplished shit really. So
yeah,
they all have they've got a motivation to humble themselves and come together. Like, let's do this shit. I mean, Lonzo, this is his third team, and he's the number one. Was he a number one pick or number two or
Lonzo
three?
Go two. I think he went two.
One of those. So he's a top three pick, though, right? So for a guy who Magic Johnson was saying he'd be one of the all-time great Laker point guards, he's. I don't think he's had an ideal situation yet. And I think the thing he's talked about is he said Chicago is a no-brainer because they didn't want me to be anything other than myself. And people underestimate how much being comfortable where you play matters, right? The ability to blossom and become the best player you can. So we'll see, man. Like
especially when you have multiple years of being this one player. This is what
Right.
got you to the dance.
Right.
You've been playing like this ever since you was a little kid. And then you finally get to a professional team, and the first thing they do is like, we're going to change your shot.
Mhm. But he needed to change his shot. So he did change his shot, and he needed to. And his shot is much better.
It is much better, but I'm saying like it takes your confidence away. Like what you thought was good, somebody just literally was like, yeah, that's trash.
Right.
So it takes your confidence away. You don't play the same way. When you're comfortable, your confidence level goes up, and he looks comfortable. I'm looking forward to the season, put it that way. I'm not gonna jump up and say, oh yeah, they can win 60 games, 50, 50 games. I'm not doing all that shit. But
it's fun to know you have a squad you can look forward to watching every night whenever they're on TV, and knowing they're probably gonna put on the show and they're always gonna be competitive, right? So we'll see what happens. I am upset that they're not on the Christmas Day games, but I guess I can't be mad. They ain't really been relevant for a few years, so I can't be too mad.
Now look at this though. If they get hot, that Christmas Day game card schedule to change. I'm gonna tell you.
No, but I don't think they flex Christmas Day. They don't flex that schedule.
They don't? You sure?
They don't. I don't think they flex Christmas Day.
Because I was about to say, if these boys come out hot, that's money.
I get it. I mean, having Chicago on Christmas Day is key. I remember being in Chicago. It was in the D Rose years. It was a year who did they play on Christmas Day? And I think somebody hit a last second shot. Were they playing the Lakers? Nah. I can't remember, but I was in Chicago. I was back home in Chicago. Wherever I was around Christmas time. I was like, shit, we was having a blast. But
because
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, usually the way they do it is they put you up against, like, say if you were doing playoff seeding and say you were the number one in the West or the East, they usually put that team that's either 2 or 3 against you so that it's a competitive game and forces the teams to play for something. Back in the day, now that they have what was it, load management and all that stuff, and people pick and choose when they're gonna play, that doesn't matter anymore. But back in the day, it used to be, oh, this squad can possibly beat this squad and they might meet in the playoffs. Let's put them together so this game actually means something by the time June rolls around. So it'll be interesting to see though.
Yeah, so I mean, and we're gonna jump in this Kyrie Irving shit real quick, but then I did want to shout out the White Sox, division champs. We in the playoffs starting, I think, in 2 weeks. Divisional round. It's good to be back.
So here's another thing, and this goes back to the Bulls for a second. It is a proven fact. Number one, Jerry Reinsdorf, owner of the Bulls and owner of the Chicago White Sox, for y'all who don't know. Jerry Reinsdorf, loves baseball first.
Absolutely.
The number one team that he owns is always going to be the White Sox, no matter how many Michael Jordans have come along or whatever, blah, 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 blah. So the fact that the White Sox are doing well, he doesn't micromanage as much. So the Bulls with that new front office can actually have some leeway to do some stuff.
Yeah, but he doesn't really. He's not one of those owners. Like he doesn't really. He just owns the teams and does his thing. He'll pick his general manager, but he doesn't really meddle though. He ain't no Jerry Jones.
Well, no, he meddles in the money. That's the only way. That's the only way which he needs to do. I mean,
but not really. Like I think what I've heard about him is he's cheap. But if he feels like he's got a squad that's going to be competitive, he has no problem paying the luxury tax, at least in the NBA. Like, so he'll pay it if he feels like, okay, if we got a chance to make a run, I don't give a shit, I'll pay it. But if he don't feel like the squad is any good, he's absolutely going to go cheap. Okay, so that's why I think if they make a nice little run this year, make the playoffs, and heaven forbid, make a deep run in the playoffs or even to the second round, I mean, either way, I think they make the playoffs and Zach's going to get his money. He's going to get the Supermax. Okay. I think they're going to handle it that way, and we'll see, man. I mean, the problem is it's just you hope there's no injuries, and then this COVID shit, you just don't know who's. I think the Bulls are like 90% vaccinated. I don't know what that means, who isn't. I guess we'll find out when they go to New York. But what I don't know about these rules is what I've heard is that if you're a visiting team in New York or San Francisco, your visiting players, they can play. But the guys who are on the home team can't play, which is weird to me. I understand that, but
I-
that may
Is
not
it?
be true. That may not
Oh,
be true.
I,
I'm not sure if that's
I
accurate,
think
but I've heard that a couple times.
I think that's is that because of state law?
Maybe. I mean,
Like
maybe
because they
because
can't you
you
can't
can't
control
control guys coming in,
right.
um, yeah, because they're employees of a. Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know. That's it's interesting. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll find out. I guess. I mean, if somebody, I don't know what the protocol is with respect to the vaccinated guys in Chicago, but so speaking of this, so your
Wait,
boy Kyrie and
wait.
I had posted. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know what's gonna happen, right? So back in the day, if y'all don't know this, what would happen would be this is the type of cheating that goes on in professional sports, and it ain't always the big, gambling cheating that you may think it is, but this is the type of cheating that goes on in sports. So you go and play somebody, that team comes into town. Sometimes the home team will sit there and meet up with the players of the opposite team, get them fucking smashed, drunk as fuck, partying and all types of shit, so that the next day when they got to play, they got hangovers and all types of shit. I could just see people now with COVID being the thing going, yeah, you shouldn't get that shot. That's your choice. That's your, that's your choice. Get
Hope-
get them cats out of the home game so they
Hopefully,
can get.
cats ain't that stupid, but
I'm telling you, people do what they got to do for an edge. I'm just saying, I could just see somebody. Yeah, don't get that shot. No, no, I didn't even do it. Lying their ass off just so they can get that win. But yeah, go ahead and talk about your boy because there's a lot to talk about.
yeah, it's just
Mr.
like
Flat Earther that he is.
yeah, that's the crazy part to me is people actually listening to this motherfucker. I mean, and look, man, I guess I'm not trying to necessarily, uh, I'm not trying to clown somebody for trying to think through their process. And here, let's be clear, because we got to draw this little fucking disclaimer every time we talk about this shit. Again, if you physically are you have a condition where you're not allowed that you're not able to take any vaccine, I'm not talking about you, right? If
Right.
you have a religious issue and you don't believe in vaccines and it's genuine, I'm not talking about you. Okay,
Right.
so let's clear that out right now. It doesn't appear that that's the issue with Kyrie. If it is, I guess it's all kind of a moot point. But Kyrie just seems like a motherfucker who's extra as shit. I mean, and he's brought it on himself, but from taking this flat Earth shit seriously to saying dinosaurs don't exist, to all I mean, just all types of weird shit. Like the flat Earth shit was weird because he just jumped out the window for no fucking reason on
Right.
that, right?
Right.
Like, I
No.
mean, what nobody was talking about flat Earth. There's no shit like that. So he's trying to come out being super deep. So now he's just in this situation where it's like, okay, now he's out here talking about vaccination, and now he wants to talk about how it's a personal issue. Yeah, it's kind of a personal issue, but not really, dog, because we're gonna know when you don't play for 41 of your home games for your
Right.
own team, right? So I
Right.
mean, and I'm sick of having this conversation where people just say it's just my decision, like, and it technically it is, right? But if we're gonna have the conversation, it's gonna be public knowledge. Like, you got to give me a better reason than just you don't want to, right? Like,
Well,
what?
if it's gonna be a personal issue, then let it just affect you. I'm just sick of people going, well, it's a personal situation and act like it won't affect other people. Like that's the part I don't I'm getting tired of. I'm getting tired of somebody sitting there going, well, it's my choice. Okay,
Yeah.
then keep your ass over there. Like,
Well, so yeah, that's the issue. Like, if it's your choice, but you also there's consequences that come with that. You can choose not to get vaccinated, but you can also you're choosing not to have a job, right? So I
right.
mean, and some people be like, well, what's the difference? Why can't you just lose your job if you don't want to be around people who aren't vaccinated? That don't even make any fucking sense,
Yeah, that's
right?
not even the same.
Like, that's not how we do the analysis. Like, how
Right.
we weigh every problem is whichever avenue gives us the least potential for more
Communal harm.
wholesale, like, communal harm.
Yeah.
We're gonna go the route that saves more people, right?
Right.
We're not gonna go the route that saves less people. That's part of the contract and the covenant of living in a society. Now,
Right.
are we constantly evolving and arguing what the terms of that contract are? Sure,
Hmm.
right? I mean, that's a conversation we're gonna always have. But part of living in a community amongst other folks in a society means that you have to accept certain guidelines and rules generally, right? And
Right.
if you don't want to do that, you're certainly able to go fucking live in a mountain or something like that on an island by yourself, grow your own food and develop your own shit, but people like to pick and choose. Like Kyrie's the same cat who's had multiple surgeries. Now all of a sudden he don't trust the medicine of a vaccine, right? But I mean, I'm sure he, I'm sure when he got his, he had his surgeries. I'm sure he had anesthesia. I'm sure he didn't. I'm not. I wonder if he knew what the consequences of that are, the risks of how many people die from overdosing on anesthesia or the wrong mix of anesthesia.
Right.
I'm
I'm
willing.
pretty sure he didn't check a medical journal on the type of anesthesia he had and was like, okay, what are all the symptoms? And what are okay, now I
I'm
need
sure he didn't even ask what his anesthesia mix was. And most of y'all aren't who are over here talking about the vaccine. Real talk. I'm looking up right now. I want to see what the percentage of deaths are for anesthesia percentage death. Let's look it up.
see.
Okay, so the risk of death solely attributable to anesthesia is approximately 1 in 185,000. So let's look. What is that?
So round it to 200,000 for a round number.
I'm gonna use a calculator. You can round it. So I mean, it's a pretty. So that's a pretty small percentage. Just like less than. It's pretty much the percentage of the complication from vaccination. Honestly,
Really?
looking at it, it's maybe a little lower, but it's about the same level of complication. So, but I mean, I guess the reality is, ain't nobody here checking for anesthesia shit.
Nope.
He ain't. I. So I mean, it's kind of hypocritical. It's you trying to be deep because from what I understand, so Rolling Stone did an article going in on Kyrie, and I don't necessarily agree with all of Rolling Stone the article. So the article basically was talking about how supposedly there's a cabal of players who are out here just not believing in the vaccine, and there's this group text and player from the players union and guys just aren't getting vaccinated. First of all, that's just not true because the NBA is 90% vaccinated. So really,
Right.
Kyrie and guys like Andrew Wiggins,
Yeah.
they're in the minority, right? I mean, so to I want to kind of disprove that particular theme that somehow these NBA players are not getting vaccinated. They're getting vaccinated. They're vaccinated at a higher clip than any league and society as a general. So, don't try and put this blame at the feet of NBA players, which are predominantly black, right? So,
Right. Minus the WNBA.
right.
Because they damn near 99%.
Yeah, they might be
Yeah.
100%
They
right.
might be a
So,
complete
because
hoax.
women are smarter than men. So,
See, yeah.
um, and they're more empathetic and they're more inclined to think of their fellow human being, right?
Yeah,
So,
because they have a nurturing nature. So
right, men are selfish as fuck. But so that's bullshit. But beyond that, apparently Kyrie has liked a bunch of shit on Instagram from like one of these like conspiracy theory type Instagram pages. Where one of the conspiracy theories he liked was supposedly somebody believing that these vaccines. The goal of this vaccine is to implant a computer chip, which is going to collect the data of African Americans and then collect them in some sort of database so that when Satan returns, they can something associated with Satan. It was some ridiculousness. It's so ridiculous. I think I shut my brain off listening to it.
I'm
But
sorry, I just passed out for a second. What was you saying?
exactly, like, it's just like,
what the
I'm
fuck,
like, what
man?
the fuck, man? Like, so this is the weird ass shit that you're over here liking, like, and for these people who are like, oh, it's the American government. You do realize that COVID is kind of it's a national, it's a
Global.
international,
Yeah.
global issue, right? Like, I could understand if it was just us dealing with it. Right, but everybody's dealing with it. It's verifiable. So I mean, at this point, you're pretty fucking ridiculous if you're saying that COVID doesn't exist, right?
If you believe, okay, for it to be a conspiracy, it gotta be three or more, right? So if you believe three or more people got together, came up with this shit, and it's somewhere sitting, going, yes, it's working to plan all this shit globally, the amount of deaths globally, the amount of deaths nationally. If you believe somebody planned this shit out and it's going to plan, you know, I'm sorry, you're dumb as fuck. You probably need to be in a room by yourself. And I wouldn't put books in there because they'll be useless.
Waste.
Waste. Just rotting paper, because that doesn't make sense. You know, you got a bunch of people sitting there going, "Oh, the violence in Chicago. I mean, it's just, or they have to do something. I mean, shit, COVID done some damage, and y'all motherfuckers is like, so it's cool. It's not a priority for you. People have died. A lot of people have died off COVID. If you think the amount of people that have died in the past couple of years off COVID is just like, oh well, people die every day. Okay. Again, you need to be in a fucking room by yourself,
Right.
not
But
talking to anyone.
and even like from a basketball perspective, like how I mean, you're definitely not a team player because you're basically. I think Kyrie's made the calculation like, shit, I ain't gonna play in 41 games, bet, right? So he's not playing a single home game. Um, so I mean, and I guess theoretically, you got Harden and you got Durant. Maybe you don't need Kyrie for regular season games, right? Maybe you can make do, but it just seems like I don't know, man. Like, and and, and it's my other issue with Kyrie. Kyrie is just he's such a contradiction. Like, um, he doesn't think through this shit the level he seems to put on that he does. But you know, it is what it is. I don't want to spend the whole time talking about fucking Kyrie, but and then you got Andrew Wiggins too out here. So basically, you got Toronto and San Francisco and New York. Those are all three cities where you have to be vaccinated in order to be inside in buildings and facilities. So
Right.
I imagine there's more coming that way. And I think last night at midnight, or maybe it's tonight at midnight in New York, all the medical staff and personnel who aren't vaccinated get terminated right away. So I mean that's gonna be crazy as fuck. So
Oh yeah, I think that is tonight.
so I have mixed feelings about that, right? So and I'm not necessarily on board with mandating a vaccine necessarily. I think you're dumb if you don't get it, but unless you have a health issue, obviously, or there's a religious exemption. But beyond that, just getting the shit because you just don't want to doesn't make sense to me. But beyond that, the idea that because it is somewhat contradictory. Like just a year ago, we were talking about how essential medical staff and personnel were. And then all of a sudden now we're like, if you're not vaccinated, we're gonna
Fuck
fire
you.
you. And I mean that seems a bit much. And on top of that, we're already dealing with the shortage. So if they've been managing it this long, I mean, if you, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not necessarily in favor of mandating shit, but I'm not gonna. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I mean,
Okay, it's human nature, number one. It's human nature for people not to like being told what to do. So let's just put that on the board. Mandate is being told what to do. From the time you were born all the way up until right damn now, a lot of folks don't like being told what to do. So you're battling that from Jump Street. But it used to be a level of where you would meet in the middle or compromise to get to some type of positive solution to the challenges that were before you. Now everybody just digging their feet in the sand, and whatever position that they're holding, that's the position that they're holding. And the problem is there's going to be a right side and a wrong side. And right now, the most of the people digging their feet in the sand is looking to be on the wrong side when history plays out. And that's the problem. Like a lot of you motherfuckers are going to be on the wrong side of this. And there's just no, you won't be around to defend yourself, but there's no coming back from it. The amount of damage and harm that you do is literally, to me, not worth it. If you really believe, and this goes for all you fucking pro-lifers too, if you really believe in life, you know, why would you gamble? So you can gamble with a kid's life, but a mother can make a decision not to bring a kid into the world, into this crapped, fucked up world that she possibly could not pay for, or that she was possibly raped. She can't gamble with that kid's life, but you can gamble with the kid's life. Have the kid come into the world, have the kid possibly get COVID, have the kid die, whatever. You can gamble. See, it's just I get heated about that because it's like, okay, what makes you the arbiter of this? How did you become the person that is in control of life? You just railed on this person about, well, you shouldn't have the right to decide life. Well, you're fighting for the right to decide life, so you're no better than them.
right?
The fuck,
It's
man.
shit is wild. I mean, but it's like we have that. I feel like we have that conversation all the time about this fucking vaccine stuff, and I try not to. I've stopped trying to have the conversation with folks. It's just
Yeah,
because it's just
I've
not
gotten to the
worth it.
point. Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, you stupid as fuck. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. I try not to. I try not to wish harm on anyone, which I don't. I don't wish harm or illness on anyone. But like, I'm not gonna be shocked when I hear it.
Right.
I'm just not. They're like, did you hear about so and so so and so? I'm like, oh, okay, moving on.
Right.
Fuck
So,
it. Yeah, not gonna waste the energy. Not gonna
but
waste the energy. So, hey, so speaking of the crazy shit, because I know we was talking about Kyrie crazy ass for a little bit.
been some wild shit in
So
the news. Yeah.
there is so I don't know if you've been under a rock or anything, folks, but there was this trial going on for a guy. I think his name was R. Kelly, Robert Kelly. Yeah, it's, he. I guess he had. I guess he was a singer or something. I don't know. A lot of people really were talking about him and like him for some reason. I don't know. I've never heard one song from him, but this R. Kelly trial has come to a conclusion. At least the one in New York, and he's
Mhm.
convicted. He's convicted of all charges
Some
on
wild
racketeering.
shit too, man. Some
Yeah,
wild shit.
is racketeering, and then you got sex trafficking, child sex trafficking in there. So he's a convicted felon. This shit. I think he's getting sentenced. Which this is the part I don't understand, and I was going to ask you about it because maybe you can shed some light on that part in the law. Why are they moving? Why are they doing the sentencing all the way in May?
It's just sometimes it takes that long to. They're doing it May of next year.
Yeah, it says like May 4th of next year is his
I
sentencing.
mean, he may be. It may not matter. He may just be in jail until
Okay.
that point. He may be held until that point anyway, or it was negotiated.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, but sometimes it's negotiated. Sometimes they feel like they need a certain amount of information in order to put that together. I mean, there may even be testimony from the victims when it comes to the sentencing portion.
Okay.
So, and sometimes you'll hear from a plethora of victims prior to sentencing, but it may just be a function of they're like he's in jail anyway, so it'll just be what it's gonna be. He'll probably either get time served for that time, and then on top of whatever else he gets.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering. So he's convicted. So all you folks who are sitting there, "Oh, we told you he's a monster." I'm not making light of the situation. I'm saying all of you people were right. He's a monster. He's going to jail. Here's the thing. The last person you want to hear from in this situation is Bill Cosby. Well, apparently his lawyer talked about some of the things Dr. Cosby was saying about R. Kelly. And I think I have it right here.
Think is Bill Cosby personally thought about this R. Kelly situation?
We talked about it today.
What did
We
he
talked
say?
about it
What was
today.
his
And the
thought?
first thing he said, he was like, look, the guy was railroaded. As he said that Gloria already did the same thing that she did with him. You parade women out and you stir up the public sentiment to go against him. And that's what they did to R. Kelly. My client was conviction was vacated by the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court because they saw the truth. And what we see in America today, with R. Kelly is an assault on black men. And this is an assault on successful black men who are doing great things.
So what we see, like those R. Kelly fans that are sticking by him, hoping that maybe they look at R. Kelly, or they look at Cosby's case and say maybe R. Kelly can get off. Maybe there'll be something.
Well, look,
do you see that happening with his case?
I see R. Kelly having a strong case on appeal. And I think when he gets to the appellate court, when he gets to the highest court in the land, I think we'll see a conviction overturned. I think it's unfortunate. That this man, even before he was ever brought to trial, he wasn't given bond. He had to sit in jail. We see Harvey Weinstein, who was out on bond.
Okay, I've
we
had
see the
enough.
black and white issue. We see this
Wait,
cancel
3
culture
seconds.
issue in America. We've seen it, and we see what the assault on successful black men who have wealth. And that's what we're seeing today. And I think what black people have to do and fans have to do is say no to Gloria Allred and her racist tactics. We see she went after Shaquille O'Neal, Tiger Woods. She only go after black men who have money and success.
Well, okay, so first,
Hold on, let me stop it. All right, go
so
ahead.
first off, like, so there's a there's a couple of lanes, right? So, fellas, brothers, like, coming to save R. Kelly is not, it's not the ship to go down with. All right, let's, let's be real about that. Like, this is not the cat to go out on a limb and use up your, they're coming for black men card. Like,
Oh
R.
my
Kelly
God.
brought all this shit on himself. I mean, it's been fairly clear that he married Aaliyah when she was underage and paid for her to have an abortion, probably from their sexual whatever was going on.
Right.
He's very clearly a pedophile, right? So, like, let's don't get that shit twisted. This ain't somebody coming for a wealthy black man. He deserves everything he's getting. Let's call a spade a spade. And so, and the issue about Gloria Allred, Gloria is she has a lane she's in, right? And her lane, what I will say, is not necessarily limited to just black men. She would consider herself a women's rights activist, right?
Okay.
That's her lane. Like, she's gonna, anywhere where a woman has been sexually assaulted or anything involved with that, that's her. That's what she's gonna occupy that lane. Now, you know that for sure. Now,
Right.
whether or not that's disproportionately, brothers or wealthy black men, I have to go back and look at the cases she's taken. But my gut tells me, from what I recall, it's not limited to brothers. Like, she's after white guys, and she's just if you're a man and there's not potential allegation that you've assaulted a woman or raped a woman, she's going to take that woman's case up, and even if there are some questionable circumstances, she's going to take that, right? So, I mean, you can say that she's a super advocate of women, but I don't know if I would necessarily jump out the window on the black men. She's after black men type shit trope. There's other lanes you can occupy here. Let's just keep it all the way real. If you out here caping for R. Kelly, you need to sit the fuck down. Like,
Yeah, and
R.
if you build Cosby on top of it,
Right.
like you need to shut the fuck up to begin with. You literally somebody up in heaven loves you because you literally skated
Right.
out of your goddamn conviction. And
Yeah.
now you sitting here opening your mouth like, yeah, they railroading him. He's a fine, upstanding gentleman.
For a reason, right? So Bill Cosby's conviction was overturned for a valid reason.
It was a valid
For
reason.
the most part. But, like, this notion that R. Kelly shit is going to get overturned, I've yet to see anything that would lead me to believe that, unless there's a similar arrangement somewhere where they're in agreement that they were never going to prosecute R. Kelly ever in life, and it comes to light. Maybe that's the case, but
Which nobody has done, to our knowledge. No one
yeah,
has done.
I'm not aware of that. Like, so
Yeah.
from purely an evidentiary perspective, it appears very clearly and overwhelmingly that R. Kelly is a sick motherfucker. Okay. And
Yep.
he's deserving everything he's getting. And some of y'all just upset because y'all love his music so much.
Yeah,
and
there's
that is
there's
what
a
it is.
clash. Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily gonna go down that road, because D.L. Hughley had a funny point. He was basically like, he said, the people asked if he's still gonna listen to R. Kelly and Michael Jackson, knowing that they probably potentially abused little kids. He's like, yeah, the same way we still listen to the national anthem, and we know what the fuck that means for black people, right? So,
Right.
obviously,
Hey.
people they're not gonna digest that the same way, but the point remains. But I mean, I personally have kind of stopped I haven't listened to R. Kelly in years. And the Michael Jackson stuff kind of is what it is. Nobody really, I don't think anybody's conclusive on whether or not, what exactly was the case, but
Michael wasn't convicted of anything. If it came down to it, this dude is convicted of it. Like, it is what it is. You can't sit there and go, hey, no, that's just speculation. There's no speculation. This
Right.
dude's convicted. Michael wasn't convicted. So you can speculate all about Michael and all of his little friends all you want, but that's what it is. It's speculation minus the people that were quote unquote involved in the situation. Yeah.
and brothers, like, see, this is why, and people made some good points. Like, this is why we can't address the sexual assault shit within our own community and our own families. Like, they out here protecting uncles and fathers and shit who are out here doing ridiculous shit within our own community. It's unspoken shit nobody wants to talk about, because you got brothers like on this particular clip that you just played. There's a guy here like, this is some bullshit. Man, black man's getting railroaded. He preyed on and assaulted and in some cases kidnapped and falsely imprisoned women.
And minor women.
Minor women, like girls. I'm sorry.
Girls.
Not even women.
Sorry.
I apologize.
Girls.
Like not even women, girls.
Yeah.
Right. And some people are like, well, some of them women knew what was going. Yeah, sure. So sure. There are some of these girls, some of these victims were women, right? And some of them probably were just had poor judgment, whatever it may be. But there's an overwhelming number of folks who they're minor girls, and there's witnesses to corroborate the shit. People that basically they didn't say shit for decades because of what R. Kelly meant to their income and their potential to make a living, and they wrong too. So people going into R. Kelly, but we ain't talking about all these people that saw all this shit and testified during this trial that, I saw it, but I just didn't say nothing because he's basically my cash cow. Like, So these folks are just as much of an issue. You saw him basically preying on young girls and nobody said shit. People like, oh, well, she said she was a certain age, so, and I walked in on this, or especially the shit with Aaliyah. Like, motherfucker, that shit was, and everybody kind of knew that shit. And he's basically told y'all for a long time, like, age ain't nothing but a number, all that shit. Like, his name is the Pied Piper. Like, he's basically just put it out there on a regular basis.
Even the album cover of the age ain't nothing but a number. Like, so all right, for you young folks, y'all don't actually have album covers or CD jackets because music is just streamed. You can get the shit all on Spotify. Here's the thing. It used to be in the CD, you had the cover of it, you open it up, and sometimes it'd be a booklet that has, the tracks and who made them and the actual lyrics to the song. And then it had some graphic art on the back or whatever. On the cover of this CD, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, you have Aaliyah in the forefront. And in the background, looking like a creepy fucking stalker, is R. Kelly, like against the wall or peeking around the wall, staring at her. Like, it's creepy. So he's literally let you know.
Yeah, he's been on this creepo shit for a while. Somebody shared a clip. I guess he's potentially looking at charges in other countries and shit too. Like, there's a clip, a show he did in Africa where he's basically, R. Kelly, like, you ever been to one of his shows prior to all this shit? Like, he sings everything. So he's singing, talking about who wants to come back to United States with me, blah, blah, blah. Do you have your passport? He's basically singing about sex trafficking, right? Like, I mean, people are joking, like, but that's basically what we're talking about. Like, this is a bold motherfucker, wild as shit. But let's be candid. Folks in Chicago have known a lot of this shit for a long time, right?
Especially motherfuckers who went to high school with him. So, like, he's been on some reckless, wild shit for a long time. And unfortunately, we protect. There's an issue and there's an issue in a lot of communities. Let's be honest, that somehow, like, there's this protection of these pedophiles within communities because people just, they have interests that are tied to them. But I think it's actually, I think that's fairly disturbing that these brothers are out here really trying to turn this shit into a racial issue. Like, because you discredit all the other shit that we talk about. This is one of the situations where the religious component also plays into effect, because some of the people that are protecting these people are, well, we're just going to pray. We're going to pray that, God delivers him from his demons. And we're going to pray that he gets the healing and help that it is. And they're praying and they're praying and they're praying. And while they're praying, he's also praying, but he's praying in a different way.
P-R-E-Y.
Yep. P-R-E-Y. And there are more and more young girls basically having their lives ruined because of it, because you want to pray his illness, his sickness, whatever you want to call it, away. And there's a lot of that in there. Right. We see movies and it's always, the preacher this and, and he's doing stuff with whoever or whatever. They make movies off this on these Lifetime channels and all this stuff that folks watch. So it's a bad situation all the way around. He probably should have, it's no probably about it. He should have been caught a long time ago, so we wouldn't have the excessive number of victims that he's had in Chicago, in New York, in Atlanta, in Africa, or wherever the fuck he was doing it. And it's it is what it is. I mean, when folks get it right, you get it right. As far as the justice system, when the justice system gets it right, they get it right, and they got it right. The dude probably needs to spend the rest of his life in jail, and we just probably need to forget about him and his catalog, plain and simple.
Right.
Like
I mean,
I think that's what's going to happen musically. I think the more his songs don't get played in another 10, 20 years, when we all old and senile and people looking at us going, who the hell are you talking about? We like, that was the dude, R. Kelly. He had all the great music. And they're like, I can't find a song from this R. Kelly that you keep talking about. Grandpa, you losing it. Your mind going.
Right.
Your mind going, Paul, there's no such thing as an R. Kelly. I keep looking, searching on Spotify.
Other than every bar in Chicago where they're gonna continue to play his shit.
That's every place outside of Chicago. How about that?
Right.
So
we're not about to give up this fucking music now. Shit. But I mean, and I think I sent you before this. I sent you the joint, Representative Davis out of Illinois.
Yeah, what is that shit?
Yeah, I mean, why? I don't understand. I just don't understand why people are like jumping in this line of fire, right? So, for those of you who don't know, Representative,
Danny Davis.
What's his first name? I don't
Danny.
know.
Ain't it Danny Davis?
Danny Davis, Congressman Illinois Congressman Danny Davis. It was asked by TMZ whether he would welcome R. Kelly back into his hometown of Chicago, and this is him, and I quote: "As an artist, one who is gifted, I think he'll be welcomed back into Chicago as a person who can be redeemed. I'm a big believer in what is called second chances, and I actually have a bill that we got passed called the Second Chance Act, which gives individuals the opportunity to be redeemed and to redeem themselves. So it really will all depend upon him." So I guess unpack that a little bit, right? So I certainly understand that second part of it, right? I mean, if he's kind of taken up this mantle of, okay, we're going to make sure people have the right to redeem themselves, that's fine. Like, I'm not discrediting that part. But when it comes to R. Kelly, just sit the fuck down. Like, everybody just sit back and be like, look, I ain't got shit to say about R. Kelly. He, if he gets another opportunity, it is what it is. But like, candidly, R. Kelly can go suck it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it is what it is. Ain't nobody stressing out or ain't nobody worried about R. Kelly getting a second opportunity or making sure he's able to redeem himself, candidly. Like, he was doing some wild ass shit. And I already thought he was doing some wild shit, but reading the details of some of this shit, he was doing some wild ass shit.
Yeah, y'all thought the peeing was bad.
Right. That shit, by comparison, that's the least of this shit.
That's what's fucked up about it. At this point, if you not okay in Chicago, I don't know what y'all got in the part of the world or the nation that you're from, but in Chicago, there's a thing. Like, say somebody slinging something or whatever, and they get popped, and they do a bid, and somebody go, "Hey man, you hear about so and so, so and so?" Hey, number one, it ain't your business. So you go, word, okay then, man. The end of the conversation is, man, that's fucked up. That's what this shit is. Everybody should just be like, yo, that's fucked up, and keep it moving. Don't try to defend it. Don't try to come up with some type of psychoanalysis of it. The shit's fucked up. Keep it moving.
And especially if you out here you ain't got shit to say about nothing else, but this is especially in Representative Davis. Like, I think he's actually in a re-election campaign. So I mean, I imagine whoever his opponent is eating him for lunch, like, off this shit. Like, this is not the window to jump out. I'm gonna keep it real,
like motherfucking Jim Clyburn, right?
It's the first thing I thought about. I'm pretty sure Jim Clyburn would say the same shit. That is a Jim Clyburn-ish statement.
It is, man. He kind of looking like him, literally looking like him in this picture, in this article. We'll put the article up on the website, but like, man, God.
But I mean, but if you think about it, let's keep it real. Like, let's have a conversation, right? Let's have a conversation about, in our community, like, the level of sexual assault and abuse that went on within families that nobody talks about, right? That everybody wants to sweep under the rug. And Clyburn, obviously we're giving Clyburn a hard time, but Davis, they are within that generation. Like that, they are in that generation of folks who just look the other way, right? Or who just didn't say anything. Like, well, we just don't talk about it, right?
Right.
That's their generation. Like, so, and I'm not excusing it. I'm saying that's their generation. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised that they would be taking the let's take Clyburn because we keep, but Davis, I'm not. I guess I'm not surprised that he may not jump out that window and be like, well, he needs a second chance because who the fuck knows what else. And candidly, there's a lot of men in power who are on some sick ass shit and some pedophilic shit. I mean, that goes back a long time. I mean, you go back to the Greeks and the Romans; they were over here pedophilia with little boys and shit. So like, this ain't
Christmas,
right? Yeah, this ain't nothing new, right? So like, the powerful folks who are out here doing some wild ass shit. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein, all this shit. Like, there's no surprise that they out here like, oh, well, let's not talk about this shit because I don't need this. I don't need the spotlight on my ass. Like, so
Right.
it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah.
So,
And while we at it, y'all caping for Trump. He in that boat. So I'm just,
he squarely in that boat. Okay.
he in that boat. Y'all caping for him. So while y'all sitting there going, I don't understand how you could sit there and cape for R. Kelly and listen to his fucking songs. Hey, your guy in that boat, and y'all just kind of shoving that shit under the rug because he's spewing out the racist shit that you like to hear, and he's all for you getting your country back where niggas know they place and they slaves or they Jim Crow lawed into oblivion. Quiet as kept. He in that fucking boat. So while you sitting here jumping, just understand he's on your side.
Right.
So that's the other reason, for no other reason than that. To me, that's the other reason why I would sit there if I was a supporter. I keep my fucking mouth shut because all the other shit don't outweigh the shit he's done. Like if you were like, well, Trump did this, Trump did that, Trump did also this. It is on record that he also did that. You actually heard his voice say, I grabbed him by the pussy. Like you heard him say it. That shit wasn't made up. Like there's a lot of shit and a lot of layers to this that you probably don't want to be on that side of the fence on, but hey, go ahead, keep rallying and insurrecting your ass and carrying the American flag in the country of America like every fucking place you go.
Y'all be jumping out the wrong windows for real. For real, man. Like I don't understand it. I mean,
hey man, I know we gotta jump out the window. Hey, over here, there's this big air balloon. I'm gonna just jump out this second floor window real quick. Right. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and jump out the 10th floor over this glass and fire.
For real, dog. Like
what the fuck?
Shit is real tough. So I mean, before we get off this joint, no, it's basically been an all Chicago episode for good and for bad. But
unfortunately,
we've been talking about Kelly Price, and we can end it with just I mean, ain't nothing to talk about. We'll talk about the Obamas breaking ground on the library out there in Chicago.
Well, yeah. On the quick thing on the Kelly Price thing. So if everybody ain't paying attention, so with all of the attention on Black missing people, male, female, doesn't matter. The attention that of okay, when we talked about it a couple of episodes back, when white girls go missing, the whole country goes up in arms and everybody's amber alerting and all this other shit. And when Black people go missing, well, maybe they just not missing, maybe they just don't want to be found type of attitude. And that's just the dumb shit that folks say. Well, in the light of all of this, Kelly Price comes up missing. Now, here's the thing. Instagram, Twitter, and all these other social media platforms literally like spreads her face all over the place and go, Kelly Price comes up missing after getting discharged from the hospital. Okay, horrible headline. Like, this is why I like old school newspapers, because there's somebody who was the actual copy editor and would look at that headline and go, okay, two things, you fucking buried the lead here because multiple things. But the other thing is this headline does not make any type of sense. Anytime you just left a hospital, somebody's got to know where you are. But okay, that's the headline, whatever. So you read into the article and it goes into depth where basically Kelly Price, and this is just hearsay, I guess, on this part. I don't know if this is actually confirmed by a doctor at that hospital, but it's hearsay that she was being treated for COVID, and which she stated in her little interview that she made later, and I'll get to that too, because
I thought her lawyer said that. I thought her lawyer or somebody said that she was in the hospital when they thought she was missing.
Yeah, so basically the lawyer comes out and goes, no, she's not missing. She's in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. Everything's good. Then the report comes out, the lawyer full of shit. She's not in the hospital. She was discharged from the hospital. So the hospital like, don't put that shit on us. We ain't got her. And so apparently she was being treated for COVID, and it got real fucking bad, and she almost died. And then she got discharged and just took time out for herself.
Right.
And no one knew where she was. Okay, so all these reports come out. Then here's where it gets real fucking weird. She makes this interview where it looks like the movie shit when you being held for ransom and shit. She's in this Zoom window. They done blurred out the background, so you can't, they use the blur filter on Zoom, so you can't tell exactly where she is. And she's sitting there staring at this camera. I am okay. And I just needed time to myself. And like everything about it says this heifer is kidnapped. But turns out, obviously, she's not kidnapped. But I don't know if this is a PR stunt gone bad during what is a very serious situation about actual people being missing. Right. But like everything about this was fucked up and weird. Like I just couldn't, I couldn't get behind it. I couldn't sit there and say, oh, I hope they find her. What the fuck? She a grown ass woman that just got over COVID. Where the fuck she going that fucking fast that nobody can find her? I mean, truthfully, it's not like she's running a fucking marathon.
People just be looking for shit like, oh, she missing. Like, wait a minute.
You pick Kelly Price, go find somebody who really missing. You're like, oh yeah, I ain't seen Oprah. Oprah missing. What the fuck?
Like randomly out the blue. Like, I didn't see Oprah for a while. Where's she at? She gone. She missing. Where'd she go?
Then you get on Twitter. Yo, hey, Oprah missing.
Because I can tell you right now, I was not thinking about Kelly Price before seeing that article run across my ticker.
Right. It is. And then Brat gets into it, like back to Chicago. The Brat gets on where does she get on? Twitter or Instagram or something, and she goes and had some words for the girl from Brownstone. I guess the girl from Brownstone started spilling some business about Kelly Price, and I guess that's Brat's friend, and they have words about Kelly Price. And I'm like, how is it Kelly Price got all these people sitting here worried about her, and she really not fucking missing? That's my thing. She's not fucking missing. People can call Kelly Price and be like, girl, did you hear what they were saying about you? Brat stood up for you good to go. Anytime somebody can talk to you, your ass ain't missing. Sorry. That's not what this platform is for. This is for actual missing people, like the young man that they found
right
weeks later in Illinois. That's what this platform is for, not fucking Kelly Price, who's literally sitting there chilling at Kroger. I don't know. Fuck, man. Like,
yeah, it's a weird fucking times, man.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Fuck it. Let's talk about the Obama library.
Hey, gentrification at its best.
So that was one of the so confirmed for me. So did they break ground over there by Jackson Park? Is that where they're? Because that's where I thought they were having it.
I believe that is correct. They broke ground over there in Jackson Park.
So Jackson Park is where the house picnic is every year, and I know they were worried that it was going to move them, but Obama was adamant that they weren't actually affecting the park where they hold the house picnic.
Right.
So, if you're from Chicago, Chosen Few house picnic, they know that is part of the culture. Obama knows that, and Michelle knows that. The FLOTUS knows that. So, former FLOTUS, she's our forever FLOTUS.
Right.
But yeah, so I saw they broke ground. You said gentrification at this fine. I said, yeah, kind of, but on the flip side, people was upset because there was a thought that the Obamas may not even put their library in Chicago, which would have been crazy,
Right.
but they would put it in New York or DC or some shit like that, which didn't make any sense. But that shit had to be on the South Side. It had to be in Chicago.
Well, see, and then look at it from his point. So here's the other thing. He's one of the most polarizing presidents we've had probably in the past 60 years, hands down. And from his standpoint, he's also the first of a lot of things when it comes to being a president. And everybody goes, yeah, the first black president, but there's the first of a lot of things. Every decision he makes is double scrutinized, things that you would just let go and let God, as they say, on other presidents and other people. When it comes to him, there's a microscope and a magnifying glass, I should say. There's a magnifying glass on him. And if he drops the center there, yeah, there's a chance that those people will get moved out, or they will build up the area around the center because they want it to be a tourist site, in which case they can't afford to live in that area, and boom, bang, there's gentrification. So those residents are like, fuck that library, fuck that center. I don't want to have to move because of this. He knows that. He understands that. Even though I don't know how much say past, yeah, it can go here, he has on it, but he also knows that if he puts it there and that's what happens, everybody's going to blame. If he don't put it there and the area don't build up, everybody's going to blame him for that too, because they're going to say, well, he had a chance to bring it into Chicago and actually clean up the area, and so all this poverty will go away and we have businesses and stuff. Like, y'all catch him. He catches it from both ends. It doesn't matter what the fuck he do. There is no right answer when it comes to that man. That's just how that is. So the stress alone to be quote unquote President Obama is got to be ridiculous, because you when he helps his community, you say he's not helping enough. When he doesn't help his community, you're quick to say he doesn't help his community. So hopefully, like you said, the house picnic is safe, but hopefully the center goes in, we can get business in there, clean up the area a little bit where it's not a full-fledged gutting. Like, maybe he has some say on if they're going to gut the area or not. I don't know, but hopefully it's not a full-fledged gutting.
I would be surprised, knowing Obama's origins, knowing how much he loves the South Side and loves Chicago. I would be surprised if there weren't components to this thing that are going to account for the ability to kind of either not displace folks or give them opportunities, or allow for some sort of building up of that community and making sure that it's reflective of the community that put him in the White House, right? So I mean, I would be. Obama is not that tone deaf, right?
Right.
I mean, he's very smart. He's not that tone deaf. Don't get me wrong. I have my disagreements with him. I think over time he's just gotten fucking old. He's gotten old and somewhat a little bit more elitist, and that's just what the fuck happens when you get old and you get
rich.
money. Yeah, so I mean, so there's some shit I disagree with him on, but I mean, by and large, he's still the best president there's ever been. That's not up for debate as far as I'm concerned, but I don't agree with everything he does. That being said, I would be incredibly surprised if he was that tone deaf with respect to building this library in that particular area of Chicago. It would be shocking to me, actually.
Right. That's what I agree. I just don't believe he's that tone deaf. I do believe he's thinking about it from all angles, really. I really do.
Yeah, one of the criticisms I heard is the fact that it's going to be privately ran by the Obama Foundation versus funded by government money, by public money. So the criticism people are making of him is, well, how do we know it's going to be a honest reflection of the presidency? Are they going to try and skew it in favor of being more favorable to Obama's legacy versus The typical libraries, which are ran by the National Archives, those aren't ran by the private foundation, right? So
Right. Because they also put all the transcripts and all the stuff into the library.
but apparently it's going to be fully digitized, so it's not going to be a traditional research facility. It's going to be actually part of the facility is going to be the Chicago Public Library. So
Okay.
I've heard that as well. So I mean, those are good things. Those are good developments. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it turns out. I would be very surprised though if Obama didn't understand the nuances of what's going on, considering he started his career as a community organizer. That would be kind of surprising.
Put it this way, I don't think if he did, I don't think Michelle will let him.
Right.
That's
She
the
like,
thing.
Nah, player. Nah, player.
Nah,
Like, no.
nah, we ain't doing this shit. Yeah.
You know how that goes. Like, gotta keep home happy.
I know exactly. So Mrs. Obama get in his ass if he
Hey, absolutely.
like get in his ass.
Handle him. We know you do already. So that being said, I don't have a what the fuck news segment. It's been a what the fuck segment between R. Kelly's ass and all the other bullshit and Kyrie Irving. We talked about all that shit earlier. So
Well, yeah, my what the fuck was the Kelly Price shit. I mean,
I thought so. I was like, this feels like a what the fuck, but
it is. It's what the fuck.
So we appreciate y'all. Like I didn't get a chance to do all the shit at the beginning, but you know what it is, y'all. Like go check us out and go leave us a review. Don't be a hater. Leave us a 5. Like if you're not leaving us a 5 and like a 4, you probably are a hater. But so Greg, go ahead and let them know what you need to let them know.
As always, subscribe. We are the All Out of Fucks podcast. And guess what? We on Apple, we on Spotify, we on SoundCloud, we on Stitcher, we on Libsyn, we on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Audible, and select episodes are on YouTube. And we All Out of Fucks.
We out this joint. We'll holler at y'all. Peace.